So I'm on the new Yamaha R3, and the riding position is so tiny. It's actually really comfortable. The handlebars are, you know, when you look at this bike, it just looks like the sportiest 300 you could possibly buy. It looks absolutely amazing, and I'm going to get you some pictures and whatnot of what it looks like, and you know, give you a little 360 around the whole thing. And I'll get off the bike soon and show you what it looks like. But it is a parallel twin, and it goes alright. It's a 321cc. They say it's got like the cross-plane technology that Yamaha do in their MT-07. So it's got that kind of thing going on. I mean, my ears aren't picking up any distinct sounds outside of a normal parallel twin at the moment. It just sounds like a parallel twin to me. So the dash is pretty good. Tells you what gear you're in. That's awesome. Not a lot of bikes have that little gear indicator, so I've got a gear indicator, nice big digital display on the speedo. Looks like the revs go all the way up to the red line, which is, looks like it's 12,500 revs for a parallel twin. That's a good number to have, I guess. I wonder when it starts choking out. Like parallel twins, you have to kind of, you know, give it the right amount of throttle, not too little or as it will stall. It seems pretty smooth. It's a little bit, it's probably not as vibrated as the CB500, but I guess you would expect that because CB500 is a bigger engine. I mean, I'd probably say that the Ninja 300 has a more distinct sound to the exhaust. It does sound a little bit better. But the funny thing about this bike is it's like I'm sitting on the toilet. That is the riding position of this bike. It's so comfortable. It looks so aggressive, but it is actually really comfortable. The handlebars just seem to come way too far back. It's like my hands are on my knees. I think the handlebars need to go forward on this bike. Luckily that's a cheap, easy modification if you're not satisfied with the riding position. You just get some clip-ons on there and push everything a little bit forward and a little bit lower, because yeah, it almost feels wrong that it's this comfortable and looks this sporty. What a great looking bike. What an absolutely stunning looking bike. I mean, if you're trying to set an image here when becoming a motorcycle rider, i.e. I'm a sports bike rider, then this little thing's going to give you the image. The only problem, as with all 300s and parallel twins, is when you turn on the engine, that image is slightly ruined, because these bikes, parallel twins, they don't sound as good as V-twins, inline fours, triples, V4s. Just, you know, they're a little bit bland, they're a little bit agricultural. This thing has got power though. For a learner rider for your first bike, you will not be complaining about the power. I obviously ride a CB400, been on the CB500 and the Suzuki SV650 V-twin, and this thing pulls. I mean, I'm obviously going around doing the legal limit, but it just does the job. It's not super exciting to listen to while it's doing that job, but it does the job. As far as pull, I mean, it's a fairly linear pull. There's no, you know, shit bottom end and good top end. Let's get it up some gears. Yeah, it pulls in the higher rev range as well. It doesn't seem to choke out like the CB500 does. The buttons are just so soft, like you wouldn't even know you've touched them. The indicator button is so soft. It's got a cute little horn. The mirrors are good. The back brake is a bit squidgy. It's got ABS. And you know, it's going to be good on petrol. Let's get off the bike and have a quick look at it. Really comfortable. The seat is really comfortable. In terms of ride height, okay, so I'm flat foot, slightly knees bent. I'm about 5'8", 5'9". Neutral's easy to find. The clutch is really light. So it doesn't have a slipper clutch. There's no signs of an immobilization system here like you get with the Hondas. It's really stunning looking bike, to be honest. I mean, I've looked at the tail tidy options. They make it really easy to get a tail tidy on there. The wheels have got this really shiny purple fluorescent paintwork going on. The wheels look absolutely amazing. If you have a look for the full system that you can get with this, it looks like a MotoGP exhaust, and the dealer just told me it's road legal if you keep the baffle in it. There you go, single disc on the front, ABS on the rear as well. I'm not sure if they're combined ABS, but there's definitely ABS on the rear and on the front. Nice, shiny, good looking Supersport pegs. The engine casing looks like good quality stuff. The fairing looks like the new R1. The paint scheme, how can you go wrong with that? It's got the typical Japanese one light at a time kind of lighting on it. It's got LED indicators which look good, much better than your standard, you know, old school orange ones. It's got the fold-in mirrors. And it just looks fucking great. I mean, I think it looks better than the R6, but then you climb on it and it just feels like a child's toy. The positioning is just so friendly. I mean, if you're an experienced rider, there's going to be a lot of things you want to change on this. I mean, obviously it handles good. It's nice and lightweight. The brakes are, yeah, the brakes aren't very strong, guys. I feel like you could probably do a better job braking by just dropping down 2 gears. the brakes just feel vague. That's a shame, really. I think the CBR 250 brakes are much better. Really light. Like if you dropped it, you could pick it up on your own. You wouldn't have to call your mate with big muscles. It'll be good on petrol. It'll be good on servicing costs. I guess insurance, I don't know what this will be like on insurance, but I guess the demographic of the riders on a bike like this is gonna make it slightly more insurance than it should be. Because, you know, you're gonna get a lot of first time riders buying a bike that looks fast to go fast, and then when they start stacking them, your insurance is going to climb up and up and up. So why did it? I don't know, I held the clutch in all the time there and it just choked out. That doesn't seem right. The fan's come on. Why's the fan on? Okay. That probably shouldn't be on. I've only been on this thing for 10 minutes. That's a bit flimsy. I mean, these are cheap bikes. These are the kind of bikes that, you know, when you crash them, it's cheaper to replace the whole thing than it is to repair them. The button just feels like it's going to break off on the indicators. For an experienced rider, I mean, if you're, you know, looking for a cheap bike to run to the city with, this probably isn't going to be for you. I mean, you'll do just as well on the 250s. They'll be cheaper in insurance, cheaper to buy, you know. But if it's your first bike, there are more powerful options out there if you're looking for power. So you won't go towards this for power. Now, all the 300s seem to have a thing about image, about looking really fast, sleek and nippy, and this is where the Yamaha beats all the 300s out there. It is certainly the best looking 300, and it fulfills that, you know, that role perfectly. The only problem is with all 300s is that if you're after a bike with an image, you probably want it to sound just as good as it looks. And that's where all the 300s fail. They've all got this parallel twin engine. So you're gonna look good sitting on it in a car park, but as soon as you rev it at the lights, no one's really gonna bat an eyelid too much. It just doesn't sound exciting at all. Maybe if you put an aftermarket exhaust on it, you could make it louder, but it's still not very fun to listen to. And that's what I don't get with the 300s. If you're looking for an image, you're not going to get it because it's all let down by the sound. So if you, and the only other reason why you get a small bike is because, you know, you don't need a lot of power. You're looking for something cheap to run, and well, that's where the 250s beat this bike. 250s are cheaper in insurance and in sale price, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to buy a 300 if you're looking for a cheap bike either. And you know, like I said, that, you know, to buy an image is to also buy the sound, because that completes the image that you're after. In this particular price range, I mean, if you're an experienced rider or looking for a cheap first bike, better option would be to get a 250. It's going to be cheaper and give you around the same amount of pleasure and sound just as good, because they're, you know, the little Ninja 250 is a parallel twin as well. If you're buying a 300 for the power, well, you're not. You're gonna buy a 300 because of the image, because there's way more powerful bikes out there in the lambs category. So the 300s aren't the most powerful either. So you're not buying it for power. So if you're not buying a small, cheap first bike, and you're not buying an expensive, big first bike, then why are you buying a 300? And the only thing I can think of is the image. All the 300s look absolutely fan-bloody-tastic, and they sure as hell do turn heads. The only thing that they fail on, though, is completing the image with a mean engine sound. They're all parallel twins, and, you know, they just don't sound very good. So, you know, even though you may be buying a 300 for this great looking bike, it's just going to always feel incomplete when you pull up next to a bigger bike rider and they rev their big 4-cylinder CC engine, and you always look at this little 300 and think, I wish my bike sounded like that. Sound is just as much important as the looks. And yeah, these 300s just don't have it, do they? So I would just personally get a 250 Ninja and save money, and save on the insurance costs and the petrol and the servicing, and just ride it harder and have just the same amount of fun. I mean, despite what I've just said, I mean, these are all comments from an experienced rider. If this is your first bike and you're inexperienced, this is going to handle well for the limits you're going to be pushing it towards, and it's got enough pulling power to pull you out of your comfort zone, that's for sure. Interesting, doesn't just start.